Camping is a fun, cheap way to enjoy the outdoors. You can go camping at the lake, at the beach, at the mountains, and several other places. If you want to have a fun, lively camping trip, here are a few things that you can do. In the morning, if you're an early bird, you can get up and watch the sunrise. And if you're an active person, you can go for a walk, run, jog, or even a hike. If you're not an early person like me, you can get up later in the afternoon and put your bathing suit on and get ready to go enjoy the water. If you have a boat, you can go tubing, water skiing, and fishing. You can also ride around and just enjoy the scenery. And if you like birds and animals, you can bird watch and just sightsee. If you don't have a boat, you can still go fishing and swimming, and if you have a float, you can blow that up and lather up in some lotion or tanning oil, whichever one you prefer, and just lounge around on the float and tan and maybe read a book. And you could also take a nap if you wanted to, but be sure not to crisp yourself. If you have a kayak, a canoe, or a paddleboard, you can take those out on the water. You can also fish with those, and you can dip in the water because sometimes it gets really hot, and if you know how to get back in those, that would be a smart idea. If you're feeling active or you're feeling sporty, you can play volleyball if they have a volleyball court at your campsite. You can toss around a football if you brought one with you, and you can pass around a frisbee if you have one of those. Once it gets closer to the evening time, you can ride your bike around the campsite, or you can play some horseshoe with some friends and family. And once it gets closer to dinner time, you can either make dinner yourself, or you can start a campfire, which is one of my favorite things to do, and you can roast hot dogs and make s'mores. There's a lot of things you can do at a campfire. If you're wanting to have a really lively campfire, you can play games like Truth or Dare, Would You Rather, or Never Have I Ever. But if you play those games, especially Truth or Dare, be careful because a lot of people will dare you to do things that they won't necessarily do themselves. So if you're worried about that, I recommend choosing one of the other games. Also, if you're feeling spooky, you guys can tell scary stories. I know that a lot of people don't like scary stories and they have trouble sleeping with them, but I recommend telling at least one scary story because it kind of keeps you on your toes and livens up the campfire just a little bit. When it gets closer to nighttime and everybody's just winding down and the fire's getting put out and no one's putting wood on the fire anymore, I recommend just going to lay down either outside your tent or inside your tent on a blanket and just stargazing and watching nature around you. I know that when we went camping, we had a tent that we could open up the top and just look at the stars from there. But if you don't, like I said, you can get a blanket and lay down and just watch the stars from there. Once it's all said and done and you've done all these activities and you're just ready to go to bed, just lay down, have a good night's sleep, and get ready for the next day. As you can see, there are a lot of physical and non-physical activities that you can do on a camping trip. And if the weather permits it and you can't do any of these activities, I recommend just laying down, just relaxing, maybe playing a game of cards, and just waiting for the next day for it to be pretty.